Ampheze futhi ngisasesikhathi namukele ku-Este Coach kuye podcast yabasadi ukuthi nje ukuthi imidlalo kunyeni lesikubukako ikhona ke imidlalo leminyenti iqhubeka khona la ekhaya. Lokumnanzi ke sibona iqembu lethu la ekhaya iKruger United lina kakhulu lapha nje kumdlalo weMunicipal Foundation Championship lo National First Division. Sijabulile ke masibona iqembu lidlala kahle kakhulu ngempela sonto bashaya number 1 before badlale nabo bashala lapha nje Milford ngeligoni ngeqanzeni imidlalo nje lobuya lapha eqembini Kaizer Chiefs. Sibonile nje lapha ku-DDC bekamuhle lapha nje esiswini adlala khona nge-left. Sabona futhi coach ekhombisa ukuthi uyamthemba. Sibonile ke wonke umuntu ukhuluma ngelicembu lekhaya eKruger United ukuthi bangajabula ukuthi nje sibe nemaqembu lamabili next season ku-2026 2027 sibe ne-TS Galaxy kanye nelicembu layo leKruger United. Basibonile ukuthi nje isizini nabo yesibili ke lebe bakhona la season naye futhi coach bacikeza lapha nje kuyo i-top 4 kusho konke nje babuildile i-foundation for lelicembu lesilibonile la season nje basibona nanyalo ndlela badlala ngakhona balenze badlali futhi abane experience fayikhasi lebadlalile ku-PSL naye Sidathi nomunye badlali nalungu esimbonile udlalile futhi ku-PSL lo phinza futhi kwanyalo ukhona lapha nje eqenjini kuyo i-technical team nje basibona nanyalo ukuthi iqembu dlala kahle kakhulu. Sibe nenhlanhla ke ukuthi sikhone ukukhulumisana nebaphathi belicembu sibe na coach namuhla sokukhona ukuthi sinikede yena nje banadi ukuthi kwanyalo iqembu lena kahle kakhulu nje basibonile bo social media ukuthi abanyenti bafisa ukuthi babone iqembu liqhubeka lembili sendasho ukuthi nanyalo salisonzeta ukuthi mabadlala nendasho ukuthi niba up to date kanti futhi sensethi ngudleni ita futhi no support iqembu asembeke ukuthi lisiniphathele kona namuhla ndokujabulela asasesikhathi coach kubingelele ngamukele ku-Este show kuye podcast etemidlalo.
Ngiyabonga bhuti nami ngiyabulela ngibingelela nabalaleli ekhaya.
Yeah, sabona nje coach singene nje kuyo straight ibalanzeli belicembu leKruger United Villagers bajabule kakhulu ukuthi iqembu lena kahle kakhulu nje basibona nanyalo mathuba amanyenti ukuthi singahle sibe nelicembu lesibili ku-Betway Premiership ku-PSL next season maliqembu maqhubeka ngale run before siye ikhathi sicela kuwe coach ufike njani la ukuthi ube umqeqeshi especially labanyenti bakubona uyicoach bakubone last year bakubonile le season le before utala ukhona lelicembu lokuqeqesha lona kepha nje wena before ube coach udlale wafika kuphi coach?
Mina ngayekela ibhola I stopped playing football at 11. That's when I started coaching in 1996 in October. October this year I'll be 30 years as a coach, and I'm very humbled in journey. And I think ngicala coach at Soweto, a team called Orlando Chelsea, and then coached from under 13s. Go up from under 13s to under 15s and developed into an under 17 coach. And then at under 17, I had the privilege to go and work at Bopilo Academy, where I also go as a coach. And I ended up journey Amehamba, then coached the Vodacom League when I was at high school doing my matric. I was privileged to coach the Vodacom League, I say Vodacom League back then, what is called the EP9 now. I was an assistant Orlando Quaitos. I think I learned a lot lapo. Also had the privilege to win the Vodacom League back to back as an assistant coach, and I think I learned from coach Afana Boroy or coach Bega Mazebuga that mentored me as a young coach. From there moved on to go and coach Soweto. Deeper there was also a team called Triple S that I also worked with, and Soweto Football Academy, and coaching the GDL League at the beginning of the GDL League. And I think that's when I also developed as a coach, because now you started to play against the so-called academies, Sundowns, Pirates, and then you could develop local boys to be able to be confident enough to play in that stage. And from there took my coaching and started doing my coaching badges, started taking it seriously, and then developed into a coach. Came the first time before coming to Mpumalanga, I was a assistant coach. I went to Pirates as assistant coach in the reserve team, also playing in the Vodacom League. By then they said it's a second division league after they lost the sponsor, Vodacom. So coached the team called Yeboyes. Was basically we're developing the players for first team and trying to also promote the team. Very difficult in those conditions. And then I had the privilege to move to Mpumalanga and coached first team in coach Ilmangfike Mpumalanga got chosen. That was formerly known as Tabo All Stars. I think that's when I learned the culture, and it started then to be my second home. From got chosen, I moved from a team called Amapobezi in Emedu, went to coach team with Amapubes and Emelo, and then I think I grew from there. And then that's when I also left Mpumalanga, had the privilege then to work with FC Cape Town in the NFT as the assistant coach. And under the chairman, Errol Dix, and with good guidance, Jan Proon had the privilege to work. Now Jan Proon was a Dutch coach, also taught me a lot from that. And then from there, years later, Eric called me to Chipa to be his assistant, Coach Eric Tinkler, because I worked with him at Pirates. And then that's when I also learned a few other things about the level as well. Now it was in the DTC and also the first team, as I was head coach in the DTC and assistant coach in the first team. And I think also that's when I also developed to be better as a coach from Dapo. And then I moved from Chipa coming to TS Sporting. That was owned by Mr. Tobela as well. And then that's when I also worked under Coach McDonald Makubedi as an assistant to Coach McDonald Makubedi. When he left TS Sporting, I also resigned and left the club. And then I think I went back to Soweto to go and coach a team and develop the players for Mekas. And that's when I also had the privilege again, was called in by Tax under 17. And from then, as I was about to get promoted to work at Tax, in the first team under coach Sean Bartlett, that's when also I received an opportunity to come back to TS Sporting, but now under coach Kabelo Sibia. We had a good season, and then halfway through the season, the coach reshuffled his technical staff. Unfortunately, I was one of the falling pack there, and then I lost my spot there. And a week later, I was called by Skukune McDonald. He was at Skukune now, and I worked under Coach McDonald Makubedi at Skukune, and we're fortunate that we promoted Skukune to the PSL, and then had the privilege to continue in the first season as his assistant. And then things did not work out as well. And then I think that's how my journey basically came to Mpumalanga. And then I came back again to TS Sporting after I left Mpumalanga, after I left Skukune, and then came back to TS Sporting again, being called by the chairman. And then unfortunately later on the status was lost. And then I also learned from there, because I came in and thought I would be the superhero and save the team. And we only had 5 games, and they were number 16. Won 4 of the 5, lost 4 of the 6. There was 6 games left. Won 4 of the 6, lost the one that was key to Richards Bay. And then that's when we got relegated. We had to go and play again in against Otongati, but by then we were also already relegated, and we played a draw there. And I took my lessons from the promotion here, Skukune, from the league, and I took my lessons from relegation at TS Sporting as well. And I think also the importance of when you step in as a coach, you also need to look at the timing and the fixtures and where is the team and what kind of quality in the squad do they have. And then that's also when I left back, went to go and coach in Lesotho. I had to restart. Went in the Premier League in Lesotho, my first season. Then we won the league with one of the big teams in Lesotho, Bantu Football Club. And then I had a great season, but I thought I wouldn't grow as more because the one thing that drove me to go and work in Lesotho was I knew when you win the league, you can play in the Champions League. Yeah. And I wanted that experience to go and play in the Champions League. Was unfortunate in that season that the Lesotho Football Association felt they could forfeit their sport in that season, and I couldn't get the opportunity. And then that's when I left, coming back, and I said, let me restart again in South Africa, because when you go out of the country, and you go to a small country like Lesotho, you get to be forgotten and you're lost in. And I said, let me restart and reboot. I went to Wits, worked with Wits, and then I had the management here, Kruger, calling me to come and take over the team while they were still in the ABC. But I said, it's the same project. I couldn't leave because Wits gave me a job when I was sitting at home. I also had to be grateful for that. And we finished the season at Wits, and the chairman pursued me again when the team got promoted to come and be assistant coach for Simkachwa. So it is a big opportunity and something that I could go for. And I became assistant coach until he resigned. And then I think it was the 5th game, and took over a game, Kruger last season on the game number 6. It was against JTR. I still remember we played a 0-0 draw in Kanyamazan. And the target was to restructure the team and build it to be a strong and competitive team, which I feel also we achieved last season, but we also had to take our lessons as a club and also as a technical staff. We had an inexperienced technical staff as well. Not all around, but I think we are not that experienced as the squad that we have now. But the one thing that drove us was the passion that we had. And I think we worked extremely hard and we nearly made it to the playoffs, but you also learned that yet too far, yet too close. We were not there. And then left the club, went to Uppington City, also stayed there for about 6 games. Left the club with 10 points in a possible 18 points. Left them in a good position to compete. And took went to go and sit at home. And then when Coach Vusi Vilagazi decided to go and join Chipa, and that's when the chairman called me and said, we would need your services. Would you like to come back home? And I said, yeah, gladly so, because at least I know the environment. I know the chairman and everything else. But the difference was now the squad was revamped and completely changed. I needed to adapt to the team. And the most difficult part was we had a game in 2 days. We were playing Milford, my first game. Away.
Tough team.
Yeah, so from the little experience that I have, I knew that the effect of a new coach, every player wants to impress the new coach. Every player wants to play. They want to showcase the talent. I knew that you don't make too many changes, but you look at who trains well at training at that time, but you only have 1 day and then we're traveling. So I had only the Monday to see the training, and we had 2 away games in KZN because we also needed to play Wanderers. The boys put in a very good shift against local leaders. They were still local leaders then. We won 1-0 against Milford. I remember Ketuktula Ndlovu scored his goal there. And it was a hard-fought run, and the boys deserved 30 points. And we went 5 wins in a row, which I was very proud of the boys, but it was still a new effect. And I asked them to just go to December with the good run, and they did their best. Out of 6 games, we won 5, we lost 1. We only lost to the Peas. And coming back, there was the AFCON that we knew we could have a break to now restructure and try to find the team to play it in the way that so we tried to build in a team. We used that break to build in a team with a lot of challenges, obviously, because now if you change things, firstly it will be uncomfortable. Any change is not comfortable, and then but because we've got a technical team that's very united and that works very hard and put in a lot of shift, we divided ourselves and split the work. And I can safely say I'm one of the privileged coaches to have the technical team that I have. Had the privilege to choose 1 or 2 individuals to bring in, and also had the privilege to choose who still remains in the technical team, but also had the privilege to have found a technical team that majority of them, I worked with them last season. So it made the relationship a little bit smooth. And I think we are growing as a team and a technical team also. The players are growing. Management has grown from what it was last season. They've grown into a full-time professional team, and I think we're doing a good job.
And then masibuka inyalo indlela iqembu lidlala ngakhona sothole 6 points kwi-Milford. Milford being number 1 before ndlale naye. And then musibuka during the week sibone ama surprise iCasters edliwa ekhaya. The Captain City edlala eRoma teams la ubangisana nawo. And then musibuka nyalo ifocus because beke kakhulu ecinjeni iMilford neCaptain City neCasters bese kuba neqembu leKruger. Nyalo ngazi ukuthi wonke umuntu uzokhuluma ngani ipraise engakanani nyalo especially focus eKruger United.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this with the boys. The most important part is we must never forget how we built ourselves and the way Akenga corner the team to get to last figure corner nyalo. I think the most important part is we focused on improving what we did last year. We basically want to do better than ourselves last season. So with regards to the goal scored, we are on the right track because we already have surpassed that. with regards to the goals conceded, we're slightly there. We just need to fight to keep more clean sheets, because one thing we were privileged to do last season was keep a lot of clean sheets. And with regards to points, the first target that we have is to achieve 45-point mark, because that's where we finished last season.
Yeah.
So we want to achieve that as soon as possible, so that we can at least try to see how far can we take it with regards to achieving more points than what we achieved last season, and we want to do better than last season.
And then masibuka i-depth yesquad sakho uma ufika bona isikhathi esincane within 2 days wadlala igame yokuqala away neqembu Milford nyalo masebuka masivula after AFCON uphinza bangeda futhi nemaplayer lamanyenti kufayikhazi imidlalo ushaya igoli wena igoli uya ecenjini Kaizer Chiefs uma usabuka lokhu beef up the squad kufake kangakanani competition kusicembu libe consistent libe challengeable indlela edlala ngakhona, because wonke umuntu uthola ithuba elisebenzisa after nebadlali bangedile ngicabanga ngede ngasi 5 new players before after AFCON.
Yeah, very privileged to have such humble human beings that have just come in, and everybody of Figile was grounded and also respected the players that they found there, and also the environment. I think the squad that when I came in now, they've accepted me with the technical staff changes that I made, but also the type of player that was brought in was not. We've tried to improve from what we were doing last season, where it was only me and the technical staff making the decisions of the players we tried to bring. So we've tried to make sure that we make those decisions with management to try and make sure we get the right decisions for the club. And I think the club has made the best decisions for us and guided us into the right direction to bring the right players. And everybody that's coming in is trying to add value, and that gives us the depth to be able to bring in anybody and they can perform.
Kuphuma kwenu ku Nedbank Cup udlale ngakanani role ukuthi nikhona focus ngala uma usuyabuka beniplanile vele ukuthi hayi asingabi nanzaba sifake ama French players because focus yethu lapho, or maybe mhlambe kube blessing in disguise usimpume el so that nokhona focus ngala.
I think on a personal note, as a young coach, I also wanted to use this opportunity because I would have loved to go as far as the top last 16, because it meant the weekend that the last 32 were sitting at home and not playing competitive football. The weekend the last 16 also were sitting at home. I would have loved to go that far, so that just we add the number of games in those 2 weekends. Going beyond that was not an ambition. It was me trying to just keep the squad, because also you need to manage a lot of dynamics on that weekend when you're not playing. With regards to, we don't have enough competitive teams. There's only us and the Bees in the province to be able to play my friendly. So if you want a competitive friendly, you have to get a team from outside the province. It's either you go or they come to you, and it becomes a little bit of a challenge because financially it's another stress. So we needed to manage those dynamics and still be able to play on those weekends. The teams that were competitive in the APC had fixtures, so it was not like it was an open weekend for one as well.
And then yalo msabuka team ihlele number 1 nisengacezanga because isabona still ikhona characters endebedlala nayo maduzane ikhona futhi Captain City nayo noma idliwe still inawo mathuba, also futhi neMilford. Injani mentality nyalo ebadlali because funa babe mentally strong ngaphandle kwa physical strong, also futhi mentally, because nyalo ipressure ikhona ukuthi sesinumber 1 nyalo and funa maintain. So njengawo lo experience usebenzele abaqeqeshi abaningi bobaKhubedu boRitinhla, so waguide njani badlali ukuthi babe focus bangalandzeli nepressure bangayivi futhi ne-message lekhona edidlebeni, because ungemuntu yalo yabatshela sibathivila ngazuthi vele sema champion but satodlala mentally uba challenge kanjani noma uba wena njani so babe strong bakhona focus each and every game.
Yeah, we have a principle in the team: if you don't train well, you don't play. So that has kept us going. You need to always train well. You can't say you've played well last week and you think you're going to play next week. So that's a principle scenario. So you train well, then you get an opportunity to play. And with the number of players we've got and the quality, the depth in the squad, nobody can come to training and drag their feet. I think also the footage that we always show, if we analyze our training sessions, we analyze our matches, and then we give feedback from that you did not train well, or you trained well, or this is the areas of improvement. So we focused on Kruger more than anybody else. So I think when we keep the focus on Kruger doing better, We don't have to focus on everybody else, with all due respect. But I think when Kruger wins their games, we don't have to worry about anybody else.
Then sibukele futhi ukuthi ni team lenela kahle lekhaya compared to iqembu lena the Beast, but mayiqala nje isizini or during the season even amanenda kahle ni consistency ma supporters bengabe khona kahle to support iqembu but umsabuka nyalo recently game ye-Milford umsabuka badlali sebathola ne-12 player ukusho ukuthi lokho ukuthi nyalo i-team ngazothi vele siyaphusheka ngendlela edlala ngakhona nelithemba selikhona ukuthi singahle sibe nenhlanhla nasekugcineni sibe na-2 team PSL next season.
Yeah, I think the nature of people in Mpumalanga, they love winning teams. So when they did not show up, it was when we're still building and we're not getting results. So when we started winning, they start showing up because now they start believing in the project. But we needed to build ourselves to make sure that when they come and support us, we are strong enough to be able to cope with the support and we're able to deal with the support of Asnega. And we appreciate the support that they gave us in the Milford game. And I think the boys did well and never disappointed. We fought until the last minute. It was not an easy game. Playing against Milford is always a tough fixture. That's why we won on a small margin. It says a lot. The small margin, the score that says 1-0 shows you they used to call it a championship score. And I think it's Milford are season campaigners, and we have to respect that. And we did exactly that by respecting them and giving them a top performance.
And then embili nyalo i-team number 1 also futhi kunema team lakhona la compete against nini especially nje basinawe namuhla balandzeli bathanzi beqembu especially like sasiyo balandzeli balaphomalanga South Africa yonke sebafocus ekini sibaningi labanibukile isini message yakho to weqembu nebadlali kanye futhi nebalandzeli ukuthi ababe khona babe nethemba ukuthi iqembu litohamba especially ngiyabuka indlela kungayo awufuni ma play off ufuna vele ukuthi team hambe straight ngabe ngicinisile.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we need, especially looking at the game in Milford, it was an electrifying moment and a good environment for the players and the team. Very good atmosphere for the match and for the boys, and they did very well under the performance. I think Stingama supporter Manning to come and support the team. We'd appreciate their support really because we still have 5 more games at home left.
And then embili i-message longayiniketa nje ubuke ngaliphambili kuma-fans lebathembisa yona nokucela kuma-fans eliqembu eKruger United.
We can promise that we'll give our best and a top performance in every game. I was just telling the boys that we need to pride ourselves in our performance at home. I have not lost a game at home in the league. We only lost a game at home against Highbury. At home, that's the only league game we played at home that we have lost, a cup game that we've lost at home. And I think the last time Kruger lost, I was just telling them that we need to change the numbers, we need to make numbers better, but that's competing against ourselves because I told them, I said, I've got 23 games as a coach of Kruger at home, and I've only lost 1 of the 23 games at home. That was against Leopards, and we pride ourselves with the home fixtures, and that's where we say that's where the glory is for Kruger, and that's where the numbers from the supporters will be highly appreciated if they come in numbers there, and then they support Iqembu Kruger, and if they really want us to get promoted, and this is their time to play their part as well. Because the boys are playing their part, and we can bring in a Sundowns, the Kaizer Chiefs, and more Pirates games, and you're bringing your Golden Arrows teams here, and it's good for the community because also it's going to bring a lot of business for the community as well on match day. Hotels will benefit because opponents are coming. There's Abram stadium that will also get an opportunity to sell something at the stadium, but also for them to experience good moments of cup games, league games at the local stadium, and where they can easily access the big games there.
Coach, before ngudedela mbuto nje lokhona nebalandzeli bafisa ukuwati ngifaka nje inhloko yakho ekhaya ukuthi uyabathembisa ukuthi iqembu next season ludlala ku-PSL.
Yeah, most definitely we'll be playing in the PSL. We just need to remain humble and keep working hard. As long as we stay focused, then we'll definitely be playing in the PSL next season. And let's not wait to support the team when it gets to the PSL. Let's start supporting the team now, because we need their support to make it to the PSL.
Coach sibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho siyafisa ukubona iqembu liqhubeka ladlala khona nyalo indlela epassion ngayo idepth khona ipassion badlali batimisela kakhulu nawe futhi neexperience onayo lo khombisile lo solo hamba ngelizabo hamba khona bekubeka prepare kusinamuhla ukubonakalisa ngicabanga nanyalo awutisolo usube khona la because namuhla kunumber 1 NFT lokho kusho lokukhulu kusho lokuthide ku career yakho ngiyafisa nami ukuthi ngasilicembu noma silithophile next season bakuhlela PSL bangagcina because iyathembisa ukuthi kungalithatha sibonile bomakhubetu ube nabo baphakamisile isikhukhune saba PSL sibonga kakhulu magama okugcina coach for management ye Kruger ebadlali bakho kanye futhi ama supporters eqembu.
Yeah, more than anything, I'd like to thank the Kruger management for the opportunity and the support that they've shown under the circumstances. It's very difficult. And the risk that they took, Ngami, they did not know much last season, but from the management to just take me from being an assistant coach for 5 games and take the risk to say, let's give him an opportunity to see where can he take the team. And I'm humbled by that. Not many coaches get that opportunity, and I'll forever be humbled and grateful, and that's why I'm giving my best to the team, because I feel these are the people that believed in my talent, believe in the potential that I have, and have given me the platform to grow and be something else. And I'll make them proud one day, firstly by promoting the team, and secondly they'll see me coaching a big team like Kaizer Chiefs in the future, and that's when they can be proud.
Sibonga kakhulu coach emqeqeshekile iqembu le-Kruger Abram Mongoya besinayo nje namuhla sibuka icareer yakhe sibuka futhi lihambe khona sibona indlela la kuyo nyalo yathembisa ukuthi nje iqembu lethatha esusa lapha eGibhithe elifake evini lesithembiso eKenani nje basibona nanyalo bahlela phansi number 1 kuMusipe Foundation Championship loku National First Division yasembeke ukuthi konke lebesinisela kona ngijabele yasembeke usayibona futhi nesupport eyiba khona enkundleni home and away sasembeke iqembu elitophakama silibone lodlala kuPSL sifiso sethu nasebobulanga sithi caphe final ama province emaqembu amabili kuye PSL next season kepha nje sizoqhubeka futhi sibe behind the team asekilula sengapheli sina 5 games also la khona la ekhaya kusho ukuthi mathuba amanyenti ukuthi iqembu laqhubeka li maintain le position asithathe sibike la the coach kude emidlalo ebesinayo iqeqesho iqembu Kruger Abram Mongoya sibuka iqembu selibenjani ukuthi liya kuphi kusizini lesedulu nje balihleli ku number 1 asembeke ukuthi konke nekujabulele siphathele kona.